Hi, everybody. Welcome to an emergency episode of Prog Takes. As you may know by now, today, Monday, October 6th, the big news came out that Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson have announced a Rush tour called 50 something to hit a few cities around the States. Actually, I think they're hitting Toronto, I believe, Canada as well. Select shows. This came out of nowhere. Maybe some people were in the know, but certainly we were. We weren't. We were surprised as anybody, and it's pretty big news, of course. I mean, no one saw this coming, and it's on one hand exciting, on one hand maybe not to some people. So we thought we need to bring this up and have a little chat on an episode of Prog Takes here. So is Rush touring again a good thing? Kyle, have at it.
I think normally I would say, sure, why not? Because I generally try to make my approach, if the band want to do something, let them do it. And I think Geddy and Alex have waited the right amount of time. And yet, when I saw it and it's, 50 something, and they may have a keyboard player, and they announced the drummer, and it's Anika Niles, who is a drummer. Like, if you're in the drum community, you know who she is. She's very, very talented. She's been on a lot of like Meinl drum videos and can play anything. But it's a disappointing choice for me. Maybe I'm jumping ahead on kind of things, but that, to me, like, that is the biggest question of all. Like, who replaces Neil? And they have choice literally of any drummer on earth would want that gig, even if it's 8 nights, 10 nights, whatever. And I just feel like there are way more obvious choices than a sort of jazz fusion groove chops drummer who's incredible. And I assume that she'll do a great job, but it kind of reminds me of when they did the Taylor Hawkins tribute and they had Omar Hakim do YYZ. And he's a jazz fusion guy, and he did YYZ, and it just didn't feel right. I don't know how to explain it other than Neil is a rock drummer with a heavy hand that plays extremely precisely. And the way that Anika plays is from a different school. It's a jazz fusion kind of thing. So sorry to belabor those drum details, but it's a big thing to me. And so now I'm just sort of like, I don't know.
I want to interject real quick just to give what it says here in the press release. Where'd it go? Um, it says here for 50 something, the name of the tour, Lee and Lifeson will be accompanied by German drummer, composer, and producer Anika Niles, who has performed as Jeff Beck's drummer for over 60 shows and released 4 solo albums. There's a bunch of drumming videos and different things like that that people can check out. I wasn't really aware of her. I've heard the name, but I'd never really watched her videos. I did this morning. She's stellar. Like, she's crazy
Yeah.
good.
hmm
So that's not up for debate. Whether she's the right fit for this or not, I guess we'll all find out. But she certainly rips. I mean, she can play. So I just want to inject that into here. Jeremy, what you want to chime in?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that she's talented and that she's got the chops to handle playing this kind of music. And if they've been jamming with her, clearly she can do it justice. But now the big question is, should they? And the bigger question is, should they call it Rush? That, I think, is my biggest sticking point, because for me, Rush is the 3 of them, and I feel like they've also kind of said that too. So what I kind of wonder is, why didn't they just call it like the Lee Lifeson Project,
Yeah.
and say, hey, it's a 50-year celebration of the music of Rush, and then you can bring on a keyboard player and some other drummer. I kind of feel like that might have been a better title for it. Everybody knows that it's Rush. Everybody who's going to go to the show knows it's Rush, but you don't have to call it Rush, because I feel it just kind of takes away from something there. And man, I've thought about the show and going to it, and I'm like, I feel like I would be really sad to go see a Rush show and Neil not be there. And I know they're gonna honor him and play videos and do whatever that they're gonna do, but I just feel like there's just something wrong calling it Rush and touring, not just like some one-off show, but like doing a tour and calling it Rush without all three of them. But for me, being a drummer, especially Neil. So
Yeah, I mean, I texted a few people that aren't sort of in the news media or do what we do or podcasts, they're just friends of mine that I thought might have not heard about it yet, and I sent them the news, and a lot of the response back was, well, it's not Rush without Neil. I don't know how I feel about this. They shouldn't be doing this. There was a lot of negative like that, which is surprising. I have no doubt, by the way, that all of the tickets will sell out in about 5 minutes. That's going to happen. So I don't think that's a problem. But there are people that are going to be. It's a weird thing. I mean, Neil is one of the rare. How many drummers? 5 in the world, or maybe even that.
Right.
Once they're not in a band, the band should stop. I mean, it's like John Bonham with Led Zeppelin. He's gone.
Right.
The band stopped.
Yeah.
And when they got back together at some point, Jimmy Page and Robert Plant, they called it Page Plant.
Yeah.
You know, right? So, you know what? I understand them wanting to call it Rush because they feel like Rush is our thing. We actually were the 2 original in Rush, so we have the right to call it Rush, and they 100% do, whether or not the public feels it's right or not. But they are well known enough that you're right. I mean, they could have called it Geddy Lee Alex Lifeson, and everyone would know what it is, and it would still sell out
just as easily.
Easily.
I think it is the Neil effect, and not to belabor this, but he was the drummer, also like the lyricist. Also, it's just the 3 of them. There's something about that is, I think, unique. To me, it's really, there's only a small handful of bands that I think don't work without a certain member. It's like Nirvana and Kurt Cobain. It's like Van Halen and Eddie Van Halen. I mean, there's really only like a small handful. For me, Queen and Freddie Mercury, like I don't think it really made sense to keep doing it. It's fine, but even they changed the name, which is respectable.
They did it right. I think they did Queen and Paul Rogers, or Queen and Adam Lambert. So it's okay. Fair enough.
So it seems like after 10 years, after like doing what was seemingly the right thing from my perspective, and the right thing is up for debate, of course, but then they just kind of come out and they're like, yeah, we're going to do this, and maybe we'll throw in a keyboard player and we'll get a German drummer that you've never heard of, and let's do this. She's never done prog rock, really. She's a jazz fusion drummer. And it's not that she's female. I'm sure that'll be taken as that by some people. She's extremely competent. She hits the drums hard. Like, I actually kind of think I would go and be like, oh man, this is great. But it also just feels like, of all the drummers out there, like there's so many that I would put up before. Like, I'd love to see Marco Miniman do it, or I'd love to see Gavin Harrison do it. Even like a Simon Phillips, Todd Sucherman would be incredible. Like to hear his take on it. There are other drummers that hit drums hard that are from the prog rock space that I just feel like would be preferable. But
I have one thought that kind of came to my mind about this was kind of doing like what they do with that Bubba Bash, where you have 5 or 6 drummers, they all come out, play. Maybe they play 4 or 5, 6 songs. You get Mike Hetzel, Portnoy, Mangini, Bittner, who plays this. Ed Toth, who's also a great drummer too. I say,
but you can't take that on tour. You can't take 5 drummers on.
But they're only doing 12 stops. Like, that's not really a tour. That's kind of like a mini tour, and it's over like 2 months' time, and it's gonna be extended. It has to be. They're not gonna just do 12 shows. I can't see that. I don't think so.
We'll see. I actually, it's funny you bring that up because I had the same thought. I was like, one way to get around like that, well, who's the drummer going to be? I mean, honestly, I think picking Anika is their way to get around it. It's like, well, she's female. No one's going to like compare her like 1-to-1 with Neil, and she's not a huge name in the prog space. So it's like, here's our drummer, deal with it, and she'll do great. Like, again, like I'm going to be very clear about that, but it just feels like, no, man, go to the belly of the beast. Like, go to like the best drummers that are in the world and pick them. Well, but I thought 4 or 5 would be kind of cool, or even like 3 or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, obviously the name in our world that we all bring up is always Portnoy. Everybody knows that if he wasn't in Dream Theater, I I think he'd be the obvious one that we all think would want to do it, at least, whether or not they want him to do it. But I feel like, as much as Mike makes all the sense in the world, and obviously we'd love it, but I think then it becomes about Mike, and I think that that's what they don't want, especially, right? It's about Rush, it's about them, and they don't want a name. I think they wouldn't want a name drummer. If Dave Grohl was always thrown around, although I don't think he fits drumming wise. But
maybe for
they're
like
friends
one
with
song.
him and all that kind of stuff. Then it becomes about Dave Grohl. It becomes about that.
He could do Working Man. He'd do
Right.
he'd do that
And
very
so-
well.
So
Wait,
I think
didn't
that
didn't he
doesn't make
also
sense.
do 2112 at the was
I
it the
think
Rock
so.
and Roll
The
Hall of Fame or
Hall of Fame.
yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, Dave is a super competent drummer. He would be the wrong one. A lot of people were talking about Danny Carey. In my opinion, he's the wrong one. He's very competent. He's a little too heavy-handed, in my opinion. And when given the chance to learn these songs, he didn't quite learn them. He sort of kind of showed up and did it. You know, you need somebody. And I actually think Anika will spend the time necessary to like really learn this stuff. But I think you're right. I don't think they want a drummer that is too showy because Neil was never showy. Like they want someone that's a little stoic. Anika is a stoic style drummer. Anyway, we belabored the drum thing, I know, but it is a big deal that they get that
It's
right.
the biggest deal. It's the biggest
Yeah.
deal.
That's
of it,
what it's all
honestly.
about. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
But
What about
that's why
Geddy?
I think having a couple of people takes that focus off of the one person.
That's
okay,
fair.
but let's say we have those arguments. But the fact is they've done this. They've picked her. This is what they're doing. Now, would you be interested in seeing it?
That's tough. I mean, look, if they were coming to Miami and it wasn't some big ordeal to go fly to New York or Los Angeles to go see it, I think that's kind of a different conversation for at least for me. But when you got to throw in a trip and hotel and it being this big deal and frankly a lot of money to go see this, I'm not as excited about seeing them with her, because for me as a drummer, Rush was always about seeing Neil, and those guys were also great too, and you know, were a huge part of it. But really the bigger part for me when I would go see Rush was watching Neil. And
Right.
to go watch somebody else who, while I'm sure she could play all the parts, she doesn't make me want to go out of my way to go see her play these parts. But also, too, like I said, I kind of feel like I'm going to be a bit sad watching them playing with somebody else and him not be there.
Yeah. I'll put it in this camp. I mean, I saw him on the R40 tour, and I have that as a memory. And I don't know, and it sounds like I'm probably trumping this up too much, making too much of it, but like at the same time, it's Rush. You know, it's a huge part of my life musically. I kind of want that to be like my last memory of seeing them play. I don't know. There's just
I
something
get that.
about it that's like,
Yeah.
why change it? What's going to be done that would be any better than that, you know? And then there's part of me that's like, screw it. Like, you know, your chance to see Geddy and Alex, this is maybe the last chance.
Mhm.
Here's one question for what it's worth, and I'm not hosting this thing, but it is on my mind, is
Sure.
like Alex has his hand issues. Geddy's voice is shot at this stage on some level. Like, should they even be doing it? I'm excited for them. Like, for the two of them, they still have the energy. They still have the, you know, camaraderie. They miss playing together. Like, good for them. Again, I'd rather it be called, you know, the Alex and Geddy show or something. But
Yeah.
you know, but should they be doing it? Like, is it
Can
is
we
it
get
hurting?
can we get James LeBrie vocal coach?
Yes.
Maybe that would be
That's what
maybe
you
they
need.
should
But
connect.
you know, look, on their last tour, Geddy was struggling vocally, and singers, they need to sing. And taking over 10 years off, and even though he's been kind of singing and
That
jamming
might
with,
help. That might help. That might
think
help
so?
him having had.
I mean, but at 60, 70 years old. I'm not sure. Does that help at that
He's
age?
he's gonna need to really get that thing in shape before he gets out on stage. I mean, assuming these will be 2 hour plus shows. Geez, I don't know.
I think, look, Rush, to all of us in varying degrees, is a band that's had a part in our lives, right? Musically.
Mm-hmm.
To me, they were never my favorite band. I like a lot of their music. I own a lot of the albums. I've seen them in concert, all of that. They're not my favorite band. For some people, they are the holy grail favorite band. So, but the comparison I can put towards that, why I bring that up, is Genesis would be is my top of the classic. Like, that's my favorite. I did go see them on the last tour when Phil had to sit. Jeremy, and I went
I was with
that
you.
together.
Yeah.
And we did fly to another city to see that show
Yes.
and the whole thing. And so, while I had seen them on the previous reunion tour, I still enjoyed this one for all its flaws and for all of Phil's weaknesses, because it was a chance to sort of relive that music again, listen to it again, experience it again. I like that part of it. I like that part of concerts. I don't have the I don't begrudge people having that thought. I want my memory to be of the 10 years ago when I saw them. That's fine if that's how you feel. For me, I'm sort of the camp. I want any time to have that one more minute of enjoyment. I'll do it. I'll see it again and again until it's absolutely no longer available, because any little bit is enjoyable for me. So that's sort of how I feel. I think if Rush was coming closer to where we are, I would 100% go. I don't know if I feel like flying so far away to see it.
And tickets are going to be like just out of control expensive, I think. In fairness, the Genesis thing actually featured Phil, though. Like,
right, but he was a shell of himself. If we're being
but
honest, like,
fair.
the show was still
I
great.
think, yeah, I mean, the show was great, but I feel like with most bands, like, the focal point is that lead singer, and you getting to see Phil one more time singing all those songs. You didn't care that it wasn't Chester on drums and that it was Nick playing instead, and actually Nick playing with him made it actually kind of cooler. But
yeah,
I feel like it's different with singers versus other members in a band. And for most of us, Neil not being there is like, it's almost equivalent to Phil not being there for you.
Yeah, I agree. And it's literally one of the only bands where that's the case. The only thing that's come close to it for me was Dream Theater. Like, and I know we don't all share the same view on it, but like Dream Theater without Portnoy, I never saw, and it just didn't have the same level of interest in seeing it. And if I'd seen it, I would probably been like, oh, they sound great, but it didn't have the same draw for me. And of course, this is even like worse still.
Yeah.
Because
I think that was one that we all thought that was for many of us on the level of a Neil, right? Like Portnoy leaving Dream Theater. That's it. They're done. The band's over. It was surprising it went on for as long as it did before it came back.
Well, the Who is like the most comparable to that, where it's like Keith Moon dies. You could argue they should have just stopped, but no, they kept going. And I don't know that they ever really recovered on that. But
no, because the drumming was never remotely close. They never found anyone of that style again.
And they picked Zach Starkey ultimately, like, when I got to see them in the 2000s, and it was like he wasn't even trying to do Keith Moon. So there's some times where bands do that, where they're like almost intentionally obfuscate like what it was so it can't be compared. And I kind of feel like it's this sort of a choice with Anika a little bit. Can't really criticize it,
One example of a tour, like, I'm a big Fleetwood Mac fan, but I'm a Fleetwood Mac fan because of Lindsey Buckingham. And when they did that tour a few years back where they fired him or whatever, and he wasn't in the band, they replaced him with two people who I actually like, Neil Finn from Crowded House and Mike Campbell from Tom Petty.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't go see that show. I can't see Fleetwood Mac without Lindsey Buckingham. I won't do it.
I don't disagree. Like, it's not, I mean, his name's not in Fleetwood Mac. but that band is reaching that point where it's kind of like, who we got left? And I love Mick Fleetwood, but it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing, I've been looking online and just seeing people's reactions to this, and I'm kind of surprised that most people are excited about going, want to go see it, want to see it with her. I mean, are talking
I'm
so
really not
positively
surprised.
about her playing all this stuff when, I mean, in the prog world, people are kind of divas and they love to just bitch and moan about every little thing. And I would have thought there would have been a lot more pushback. And I'm surprised. Look, this is just a couple of hours old, but I'm surprised at how well received she is. And
it's mostly positive.
Yeah, and I think this tour is going to do very, very, very well.
I think it's a good reminder that they are more a classic rock band in the greater sense of things than a prog rock band. Because you're right, if it was a firmly prog rock band, people would be so pissed off,
Right.
Yeah, but as
I
a
think the classic
rock
rock
band,
people
yeah, sure, it'll be
are
good.
excited to go see their classic rock band. I think that is probably a distinction. Yeah, you're probably right. But they have such a humongous fan base, right? Like one of the all-time big bands that even if they lose 20% of that, they're good.
They're selling it out. Yeah.
Yeah, they're still really solid. So, look, I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be fun. Hopefully, I think I don't think they would do it if they felt like they couldn't play the guitar or sing good enough. At least I hope.
Yeah, I think, in fairness, I think it'll sound good. I think they'll make sure that it sounds good. In my opinion, there've never been a band that toured and it didn't sound good. And in fact, that's why they stopped R40 when they did, is that Neil didn't feel like he could keep up with it. That's actually a whole nother thing is what would Neil think, and you could play that game and who knows, but
that was a question I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
If he just because he was done, he was going to retire. Like that was that he didn't want to do it anymore. Had he still been alive but retired and just refusing to do it, what would the feeling be about them coming back and doing this? And being like, listen, Neil doesn't want to do it. What do you want us to do?
Yeah.
Well, my feeling on that is, had that been the case, or even if Neil knew that he was sick and he kind of gave his blessing, kind of like Chris Squire did with Billy Sherwood. Like, this guy, he is gonna carry on for me. He's a friend of mine, I love him like a brother, he's got my blessing. Go. I feel like people in Yes were very receptive to that. I kind of feel the same would have happened here had he named somebody, or if somebody was like, his best friend and said, you know what, I'm going to keep this going for you. And you knew that he was on board. I think that would change that narrative a little bit.
Yeah, I would have taken that. I don't feel like they would have done it. I think the reason they're doing it now, and like they've even said, I think it was Geddy that talked about how Paul McCartney said, hey, you need to get out there and play. Or am I thinking of Foo Fighters? I may be mixing up reunions at this point. I kind of think I am. But maybe Paul said it to both. Paul gets around. But either way, I just don't think they would have done it if Neil was still with us. And the fact that they didn't even do a tribute show where it would have been at the appropriate time, maybe you can blame some of that on COVID because of the timing or whatever. But like, so maybe they just reached a point now where they're like, you know what, screw it. Like, we're not going to be around forever. It's been about 10
years, according to what it says in the press release. So that's a long time.
10 since the concert, and since Neil passed, what, 6? Something around that? I'd have to have the exact date.
That's a decent amount of time to show enough respect, I think. Anyway, that's any last thoughts on this before we log off?
Well, I'd like to see if Paul can, set us straight. So, Paul, if you're listening, please comment.
Paul McCartney.
Yes, Paul McCartney, that is.
Oh, I was gonna say.
Yeah, Paul
Like, is there-
listens to all these episodes, but he doesn't like to comment. You know, he doesn't have the time to comment. No, I actually think I'm thinking.
He messaged me privately and lets me know what he thinks.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll have to go. Someone in the comments will definitely correct that. I guess at the end of all this, I'll say, is it a good thing that they're touring? I'm going to put that in the I don't know. It remains to be seen. I think it will do good. People will enjoy it. They'll get to experience it. Maybe people for whom Rush was not something they got to see. Like, I'm excited for them. I'm excited for Geddy and Alex. Like, obviously, like, at the end of the day, they want to do it. They don't need to do anything. So that's exciting for them to get back out and get in front of fans because they love that. Will I go see it is another question. And I'm going to try. Because I don't know. It just seems like a cool experience, but
it's a big event. It's a big event. I mean,
Yeah.
it is probably worth trying to do. Anyway, you could check out progreport.com or anywhere for the news on tickets going on sale. But it looks like pre-sale start Thursday, October 9th. And it's just a bunch of different places and times to buy tickets. All that the information is out there. Anyway, please let us know your comments. Yes or no to Rush. Will you go? Is there another drummer you thought they should have picked? All that kind of good stuff. We'd love to hear from you. And check out the other stuff on the channel. Other Prog Takes. More to come. Jeremy, Kyle, thank you guys. See you all again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for checking out the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on all our socials and progreport.com. And we'll see you all again real soon. Thanks.